What types of features and feature definitions are there? There are three types of features and corresponding feature definitions. There are linear features, and these exist as linear elements such as center lines and edges of pavement. There are point features, and these are features which exist and are described as a point, such as a tree or a pole or a catch basin. And then there are surface features. These are those features which are three-dimensional, such as terrain models and solids. So let's take a look. Linear features we've looked at some in previous sessions, and so for example an edge of pavement is a linear feature. It has corresponding linear feature definitions. This time I'm going to look in our DGN libraries for some feature definitions. And so for example, here's one for our center line. And it has settings that are appropriate for something that's linear in nature. Now there are then point feature types and corresponding feature definitions. So if I look at a place point command, I can use a point feature definition. In this case it places a cell. The corresponding feature definition, you'll notice, is somewhat different. So here's a linear feature definition, has a lot more settings. We'll not go into detail of all the settings. A point feature definition has fewer settings because it needs fewer things. Then there are surface feature definitions. And so if we look at some surface feature definitions, one example is one used for a terrain model. We see that being used here in our 3D space. That's our existing ground terrain model. This is actually the feature definition that was used, existing ground. Again, you see that the settings are somewhat different. For example, something that's appropriate for a terrain model or a surface is it existing ground or proposed ground? So we have a setting for that in the feature definition. Now another use of the surface feature definitions is for the solids in our model. And so for example, this is one we've got them set up here for aggregate, base, binder, wearing course. You notice the volume option is different. We've not looked at one of these before, so let's take a look. I need to turn on the levels that we turned off earlier. And I'll rotate my view around and zoom in on this edge so that you can see. And so using a surface feature definition, we were able to set up the aggregate solids. Here's one for the sidewalk. The curb. The binder layer. And the wearing course. So those are the three types of features and corresponding feature definitions. There are point features, there are linear features, and there are surface features. And each has corresponding feature definition type.